Okay, now you can see I've got the outlining, the stitches, and I can now see that this one is, the middle one's just a tiny bit higher than the others. And I also want you to notice this. I forgot this in the last video. Because getting to some of the stitches and holding things is a little odd with this bigger piece of felt here, I'll do this. I'll tuck it down and just use a pin to hold it in place. So that way I can better get to things. Now, I'm almost at the end of this right here. So this is when you've come all the way around, and you can see I've got one more stitch. So I'm going to stab right there. You can see I've got very little pearl cotton left. This is a number 8 pearl cotton. I also like using the bigger one, which I think is a 5. Not a 3 though. 3 is a little bit too chunky. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go under this stitch right here. Oops. I'm trying to get that as close as you can see my needle is going under this very first stitch right there. And then I'm going to pull through. I'm going to be gentle because you can see I've only got like a centimeter or so on that other end. So that's closing that up. Now, the way I knot these off is I'll come in a little bit, and I'm going a little slower because I just have so little here. And through once, through twice. So I pull it tight, and then I'm sticking to the outer edges. Now the reason I'm sticking to the outer edges is because I'm going to be putting a hole through here, and I don't want to go across anything because I don't want to interrupt something. So here, let me get my hand out of the way. Pull through, and you can clip it off there. I usually do twice because I'm weird and paranoid. And let's see. There we go. Now the eyes are done. Now, what we're going to be adding next is the mouth and the eyelashes. Now, I have, stylistically, these are eyelashes that I do, but I want you to pay attention to something. Remember how I was talking about the rule of 3s to keep things balanced? You'll notice these here, it's 1, 2, 3. I always start with the middle lash, no matter how many I put in. But I work in odd numbers. 3, 5, 7, 9, 11. I think usually 7 is as many as I'll do because I'm usually working fairly small. I added these 2 down here, and you're saying, but wait a minute, that's not the root of 3s. It's not. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 even or odd. It's odd. So this would be okay. 3 here, 5 up here, 5 up here, 2 down here. Or here's the thing. If you want to put 70 on here, go ahead. Use different colors. Explore. See what you want to do. But again, I'm just showing you how I do it. Now, one of the reasons I do this, there's a lot of stuff within each of my pieces that's not necessarily, there's no other reason for me to do it other than personal artistic preference or little idiosyncrasies of myself. My lucky numbers are 3, 5, and 8. So 3 and 5. So that's one of the things that I do to make my work my work. If you see this, you know it's mine. And now if you're watching this video, you now know it's because 3 and 5 are lucky numbers of mine. So now that's enough of that. I've got another needle threaded up, and I'm going to make these exactly the same. I'm going to add them here. So let's just start with this one right here. And like I said, I always do the middle one first. Because again, it's like the eyes. Do the middle one first. It's easier to match things on the other sides. So I'm coming up about 4 millimeters away. I've put a double knot into this pearl cotton just because I want to make sure that it doesn't pop through if I'm tugging on it a little bit too much. Now, I pull my thread straight. So I know where I should put my needle. And when I say straight, I'm going straight through the center. Another idiosyncrasy of mine. A creative idiosyncrasy, I guess you could say. And then carefully get that out of the way. Pop that through. Okay. Now that I've got that there on the diagonal, I try to make the two on the outside just a teeny tiny bit shorter. Plus, I don't make them go straight through. You could. I tend to make mine go in just a tiny bit. So you can see that one's actually going this way. Then I add the other one. Now, if at this point you're like, you know what? I think I want 5 eyelashes, or I want 9. I want 12. You go ahead and do you. It's weird. There's a point in which I know that stitch isn't going to be the one that I want. And what I'm doing is I'm tucking them under these stitches right here. Okay. So there we go. Those are the 3. I'm just going to do the 3. Now, I need to do these down here, and I don't want to tie anything. I don't want to like tie off up here and then come back down here again. So what I do is, when I'm moving from one area to another and I'm doing embroidery, if I can do it, I will just drop in a knot. Just a simple one. Just one. And the reason that I do that is because I don't want something to catch up here and yank this out and then these to be affected down here. Does that make sense? Okay, I've done that little knot. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my needle and kind of skirt along the top edge of the felt. Still can't see it on the other side. Okay. And I'm going to pull through. Okay. So there's that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in the 2 down here. Here's 1. And notice I'm not going necessarily through. I'm doing this. This is another way that you can do it. And line up your needle with it. So then you can see where the needle is on top of the thread. Push through. Looking on the back to make sure I don't have any bubbles. I felt like I had a bubble there. Okay, there's that one. And then down here, I tend to make these 2 the same length, but the first one is more straight and the second one I'll add in at more of a diagonal, just a tiny bit of a diagonal. So there's the eye. And then I do that in the same way. I do the top, then the bottom, then the top, then the bottom. And in the next video, I'm going to show you how we do the mouth.